and welcome to another edition of the One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Kyle. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, it was a little wet last night, wasn't it?
It was, and at the moment as we're recording, it's still raining. And we're
It's been raining all day and no signs of letting up anytime soon. So
yeah, and we're supposed to go to the Phillies game too with the Sons of Ben, which got moved back to 6:05. So we'll see how that goes.
yeah, and we hope everybody that ventured out to Subaru Park last night, hope you guys had an enjoyable time, even though it was a draw. But
It's par
also
for the course.
yeah, against LAFC, it really is. But also, yeah, safe travels home. But before we get started, what are we wearing today?
Well, as it was Hispanic Heritage Night at the Union, I am wearing the Hispanic Heritage warm-up top that they were wearing, and definitely think that it is great. Highly recommend. And yeah, nice and colorful and fun for sure.
And I'm wearing the gold-blooded t-shirt here, with a little snake in the background. I really like the shirt. It's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorite shirts just to wear around when we record. I think this is like the 10th episode of I've worn this shirt. So people are like, do you
And
have any other Union shirts? Jillian has
Mhm.
all the Union apparel, and Kyle has like 3 t-shirts. No, actually I have a lot. It's
don't
just
worry, Christmas is in a few months.
this is true. This is true. So today's show, we're just going to recap the week of draws for the Philadelphia Union, talk about some of the good points, some of the bad points, and there is some really good stuff to celebrate. And then kind of just look ahead to this next week. Union just completed 2 of their 6 games in 3 weeks. So, yeah, a lot of Philadelphia Union soccer still on tap. But before we get started here, make sure to subscribe and follow, and please interact with us. We love hearing from you. On Twitter at TOTWAG, on Facebook and Instagram at the One Team We Agree On, and we are on Google, Apple, YouTube, and Spotify. So you can check us out there. But let's get into it. So Wednesday, away game in Charlotte, trying to I guess the Union were trying to forget about the 4-0
Yeah.
game last year that still gives a lot of Union fans discomfort because,
PTSD.
well, that's a better way to put it. That ultimately probably cost us the Supporter Shield and home game in the MLS Cup, but we won't get too much into that. So
Yeah, there were a lot of chances where a lot of games where you could say, oh, well, if we would have gotten one more point there, if we would have won that one,
right,
or, but I think the Charlotte one really sticks out because it was so bad.
it really,
And
really
we
was,
really wanted to at least come up with a point there.
and a point would have made a difference. But
We got a point this year there.
yeah. So anyway, one of our friends of the show, Conrad, he was down there with the son, and they were traveling and checking it out, and he
Yeah.
brought us back a awesome gift.
Yeah. So thank you, Conrad, for giving us the scarf here. It's a Kick Childhood Cancer scarf, and it's got a design on it done by a child. And in fact, it says this was scarf designed by Ellie. Yes.
So
And it does have the Charlotte logo on it, but I think it is really cute, and
it
we
really is
appreciate
cute.
that.
Yeah, Conrad. And we were talking to him last night after the game a little bit, and
Hmm.
he really said he had a great time down there. Wished he would have got to explore a little bit more of the city. But again, Conrad, thank you so much for that. That was so awesome. And I that is one of the games I really want to go to. I've been to Charlotte before, mostly for swimming.
I've only been to the airport like for a layover.
I've been to the airport many times. It's actually not a bad airport,
Oh no.
but it I really do want to go down there and spend some more time down there.
Yeah, I'd like to get down there too. I have a friend that I went to high school with that lives down there, and so we had talked about meeting up and going to a game sometime if that works out in the future. So I think that would be fun.
And from the description on Billy's podcast last year when they were driving home, it sounds like there's some good food and some cool stuff down there.
Mhm.
So yeah, definitely want to check it out. So overall thoughts, Jim had really thought about heavily rotating his schedule, obviously. I mean, the lineup obviously with you know, LAFC coming into town. So when the initial lineup came out, we had Donovan and Baribo Ty getting his first MLS start. What was your thoughts on the lineup?
So, of course, I was coaching swim practice during the first half of the game, so I had to kind of just check once in a while as I could. And of course, when the lineup came out, I'm like, well, that's interesting. I mean, I
Right.
was expecting a bit of rotation,
Right.
maybe not both Ty and Donovan up there,
Hmm.
but it's like, okay, let's see what they can do. And I thought they did their job.
They
Yeah,
did. I thought, and let's talk about Chris Dunn because I know a lot of other people have. He has really improved this
he
year.
has. He had a really good game.
He really did, and I really thought his whole play was good. He was making runs. Was probably could have finished. I know a lot of other people have said that. That one, you just chip it past, or I think it was Jim even said run, dribble by him. With that one where he shot right to the
Hmm.
keeper. But he has come along, and somebody I've said privately that at the beginning of the year, yeah, he might his ceiling might be a USL starter, and it still might be, but he's really grown, and we kind of forget, play college soccer, you know, got signed, did YouTube, we signed him, brought him in. And last year kind of just was, figuring it out, and now you're starting to see the confidence when he does get subbed in and makes the starts this year. I mean, he's
There's definitely been improvement. I think that he does have room to grow. I think that was definitely one of his best performances with our team for sure.
absolutely.
So that was really positive. And so from what I could actually see from the game, and I did go back and rewatch some of it when I had a chance later, I thought he and Ty did a good job. And Ty, I think, is looking very promising for sure.
Very promising, very, very. And yet, so with the whole Chris Donovan thing, getting back to that, if he continues on this trajectory, I'm never going to say he's going to be an MLS starter, but he could become, because he does a really good job with holding up. He could become one of those niche players that when you need somebody like that, either on starting or coming off the bench, you can rely on him. And I think that's something that as fans we need to keep an eye on. He had that great goal against Querétaro.
Yeah.
And he said, and didn't he scored another, was it against Minnesota in the Open Cup? Did he score one against
I think that, yeah, I know he had another goal. I
Yeah.
think it might have been that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm missing another one. But
There's been so many games.
but what I'm saying is you're starting to see the confidence build, and so that's really good. Again, Ty was promising. And for me, my whole thing when I saw that lineup, because I wasn't feeling well, I had left practice, I was sitting there. When I saw it coming home, my thought was, okay, Jim is going to do what he's always say he likes to do on these rotation days. Um, take run the defense with Chris and Ty, and then let Ua and Carranza come on, for 30 minutes and run against the defense on
Right.
tired
Try
leg.
to keep a clean sheet that first half and
Yep.
then come out the second half, bring on Ua and Carranza and try to get a result there. And so the first half, they did their job, they got it
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And I did a few drive-bys of my phone as I'm coaching. I was like, oh, there's a corner. I'm gonna go watch that quick. And I saw Andre make some nice saves there.
Yeah.
He did a good job there. I thought he did a very nice job. I think once we get to the second half, the second goal, maybe not so great, but so I get home actually just in time to see Quinn score, of
Yeah.
course. I'm driving home, I'm listening to it, and that's when the 2 goals against us happened, and I was not happy. And so literally turn on the TV at home to see Quinn score, just in time to see him score. So that was great. So happy for Quinn. What an impact he made coming off the bench.
Yes, and again, just like Chris Dunn, we see Quinn now starting to grow, and you know we saw him last night again. Maybe he's not so much forward. I mean, Jim's even kind of mentioned it. I know a lot of people in the community have mentioned it, that he is more of a midfielder, I
That's where
think.
he feels more
And
comfortable.
he's said that he feels more comfortable in the midfield. But his impact, once again, when he came on, immediate, I would say he was the impact player of them turning this game around.
And he also went back and made that really good defensive play, too.
Absolutely. I was just about to bring that up. And so from that, we see those guys come on. Ua, Carranza were not effective as much as they want to be. I thought Ua had some nice runs. He did have a nice run to kind of draw the defense away, to allow Carranza to set up that pass to Quinn that gave the goal. So they were, I shouldn't say they weren't effective, because obviously
We were just hoping for a little
bit more impact. There's the word I'm looking for.
I did think that when Ua and Carranza came on, we definitely did see an uptick in just our attack there, and it was positive, but I wanted to see more.
That's what I'm
It wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough, and that's been kind of the whole storyline. And there were some plays by Carranza where I'm like, what are you doing? And again, it's the whole thing. They're just not getting Ua the ball enough, and when he does, he's doing it. But and also, credit to Charlotte. They were, really keen on what the Union were trying to do. So, I mean, we're down now 2-1, and
yes, the turf monster there.
And then we're thinking, okay, and then somebody said post we were falling to 6th place, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. Yeah, here we go. This is the easiest of our remaining games because they're the only team not in the playoff line right now. And I knew they were going after it because they were fighting. So credit for them. I mean, they came out and probably gave the Union everything they got because they were playing for a playoff.
Right.
So you gotta give Christian Latanza credit for getting his players ready. On the flip side, I also want to give the Union credit because once we got that goal from Quinn, the game changed.
It absolutely changed.
And now all of a sudden the Union, and this is something we've seen all year, they're resilient.
Absolutely.
And now all of a sudden here come the Union, they're putting pressure on. And I remember looking at a stat, and I'll talk about that stat later, but I saw something earlier when I was putting together some data that, Charlotte gives up goals towards the end of the game sometimes. Like, they're like breakdowns goal 15 minutes. They had a lot in the last segment. So I'm like, okay, maybe we're gonna get one here and steal a point.
Yep.
And sure enough, we go 90 plus. Bizo, who did not have a great game, makes his run. He's running into the box, and I'm thinking to myself, are you just gonna run? What are you doing? Like, he's kind of running parallel to the goal, and I'm like, he's trying to find somebody running into the box.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Charlotte player
MVP of the game
takes him down, and everybody
stupid penalty on their part, but great for us.
And first off, my first thing in my head is, okay, that's a PK. But second thing is, I'm like, is that a card? Is that a card? That's a cardable offense. Now I think did he get yellow? But I saw people saying it was a red. I don't know if it was red, but I mean that. The more and more I look at that challenge, I mean, he wasn't even going for the ball.
That was so bad.
He took Bizo out hard. I mean, Bizo was down for a little bit. So
yeah.
But to that point, getting back to it, and I want to share some. So I ran some stats, and I posted this on my Twitter profile. What I found interesting, in Charlotte's last 4 games, all draws, because they've been on a draw streak, getting points. They've conceded an equalizer in the 88th minute or later in 3 of the 4 games, right? Of those 4 games, 2 of the goals that they've allowed have been PKs and stoppage time. So, of course, we know what happens. Danny steps up and nails it, and the Union get out with 1 point. And at the end of the day, credit to the Union social media crew for saying a win, and it's like, but maybe it felt like a win, but
it was like it was definitely a tie win as opposed to when we tied Charlotte or to Cincinnati. We were like, yeah, that one felt like a loss. That was like a tie loss. So Yeah, it was funny if you missed it. It was on Twitter, their social media posted Union win. And of course, a lot of people screenshotted that. And it's like, well, in our hearts, maybe they did. No,
It's a draw.
it was a draw, but
But we moved back up to 4th, so at the end of the day, we're still holding on to that home field playoff
yeah,
position,
we had a little
for
help
that
from some of
first
the other
round.
teams. Yeah, the other teams losing or drawing, that
Yeah.
helped. So
So, and, I mean, to Danny's credit, he does what he does when he's in that position. And, one of the interesting things, MLS Communications had posted that, with his penalty kick tonight, Daniel Gazdag surpasses Nicholas Leandro for most consecutive penalty kicks converted from the start of his MLS career. So that's very impressive. I know people are going to say he's a penalty merchant. Maybe he is, but he's our penalty merchant. We
he
love
is.
him.
And hey, you know what?
But again, I'll keep
Is
going
what is.
back to the fact that, he does so much outside the ball, just
Yeah,
not just scoring goals, he's also creating, you look at, his total overall contributions with goals and assists. And another fact, with that draw, we clinched our playoff spot. So we were in. So no more pressure, no more worrying about any, where are we going to finish? We got our playoff
right.
spot. Now it's more important about finishing in that top 4. And another interesting stat, I think this was also MLS Communications posted. Jim Curtin was the 7th manager in MLS history to lead a single club to 6 straight postseason appearances. That's a very remarkable achievement.
Yeah. Yeah, good for Jim.
Yeah.
That's great to see. And in his post-game presser, he mentioned that the guys weren't doing champagne bottles and that kind of stuff
No.
in the locker room. They're just, pretty chill afterward and just checking their phones and just doing whatever because, hey, that's great. They clinched. They're like, all right, cool, but we want more.
Well, I think that's just a change in mentality with
Exactly.
the success the Union have had. It's gone from, hey, we made the playoffs, let's celebrate, to now, and you want this, that,
Mm-hmm.
hey, we want the cup.
Yeah.
We want the MLS Cup. This is our ultimate game. We need to get that,
Mm-hmm.
and I think so. I like that change in mentality.
Yeah.
And you need that. That's what the best clubs have. It's like, oh, great, we
They're
got you.
acting like they've been there before, which
Exactly.
they have, and hopefully will
So at
continue to
the
be
end of the day, should we maybe have done better? Yeah, but you'll take a point on the road
on turf.
and get out of Dodge. And so a little concern though in between the buildup between that game and LAFC, obviously, and a concern for a couple reasons. One, the injuries. Of course,
Right.
I was on the presser on Friday, and Jim Allen, they were talking about Jose's because Martinez is back because he had been subbed off with that. He had a little back injury, and
Right.
Jim would say he's out, and then he brought up Jacob Glesnes, and he
Yeah.
said Jacob's dealing with a sports hernia,
And I had no idea about this.
and we had no idea, and so, he's like, "It's too late in the season really for surgery, obviously," and
And is this maybe why he had some off performances
it
too?
would
Probably. It
explain a
explains a lot.
lot, just like Leon Flack this year,
Yeah.
because everybody's been giving Flack,
A lot of flack for Flock.
um,
Yeah.
but that it doesn't excuse it, but explains the
Right.
situation. And so maybe that's the same thing that's been going on. But again, it goes back to injuries. That's the second
Yeah.
point I want to bring up. The injuries. Again, lots of games. Some of this depth off the bench is not what we thought it would be. So Jim's having to rely on the starting 11 a lot more games under your legs.
Yeah, because Damian Lowe's really the only one of our acquisitions that really has been contributing regularly. I mean,
We haven't seen anything of
we
Andres
barely
to Perez.
well, Joaquin Torres has not been
Joaquin,
getting
yeah. Well, Perez
much.
out, and Joaquin Torres is, not even been playing.
Yeah. And then it would have been great to see we would have been great to still have Odata with us. We could have maybe actually seen him, then he's doing really well out where he is. I'm a
Yeah.
little I that one, I've said before I'd really wanted to see Odata play before he was loaned out, and so I'm a little salty about that whole thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm glad he's having success, but I wish it was with us.
So there was those concerns, and then of course the build up to the game, and I forget who wrote an article. Somebody wrote an article, and it was on the buildup because at the beginning of the year, this was like the game
Right. Everyone's like, yeah,
everybody's like,
circled
let's
that
go.
one.
I think what happened was, one, I think everybody's got game fatigue, that all these games,
Yeah.
people, it's kind of got lost in the shuffle. One. Two, we had the CONCACAF champions, and we
We
lost
played
that.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was not great. I also feel like it was a little less hype too, because everyone was worrying about what's the weather gonna do.
And that was the third point, was going to come, the weather. So, and there's no build up within the league, no build, and that's also because Union are in fourth, LAFC I think right now is in second or third. I gotta look at the stand.
Yeah, well, the
I
West
should
is
know that.
kind of weak this
Yeah,
year. So
but either way, you know, the Union and LAFC, I felt like it was a bigger game
yeah.
that didn't get publicized.
Yeah,
You know.
I felt like it was definitely gonna be more hyped up, have bigger atmosphere. Like I thought the hype was way more when we played Cincy.
Oh, it
We played
was.
Cincy, the crowd was like, now granted, it was a beautiful night. The stands were packed. It was definitely not packed. I think the weather had a lot to do with that. If it was a nice night, I think things could have been a lot different. It was supposed to be this really great evening. They were gonna have all the food trucks on the plaza like they did before, and
Mhm.
that was really fun. Of course, with the weather, none of that got to happen. So things are a little more subdued, I think, a lot because of the weather. And so not a lot of the more casual people didn't come out. And and I knew several season ticket members that didn't come.
Yeah.
So that was disappointing. However, I thought when game time came, the people that were in the river end at least and people around the stadium did a really good job of getting loud beginning there.
Yeah.
There were some very, very enthusiastic sucks chants for each of the LA players.
Yep.
We were very adamant about that. And so it for what it was, considering we're in a tropical storm, basically, I thought it was decent.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the people, like you said, people that came were loud and enthusiastic for sure. And I mean, we had a great time. So we're gonna
We did.
share some of the clips that we got there. Their usual Sons of Ben tailgate.
Yeah. So they had a taco bar.
Yeah, that was actually a really nice, like, because usually I'll just get like, a sub, I mean, a cheesesteak,
Right.
or, a sausage or something like that, and then some salad. But I think I went back like twice for like,
Yeah, you had a lot of food.
I was enjoying that taco bar. That was
Yeah.
really good. So I
Yeah, it was
like when
excellent.
they do different things. It's not just the same menu.
Yeah. So well
It
done.
well done on that. So we're gonna share some of our pictures. It wasn't again, the weather kind of played a part.
Right. There wasn't as big of a crowd. We knew people went up in like the stadium club or came later and just didn't do the tailgate. So, but it was a fun time at the tailgate. As
Yeah, it
always, we had a good
was.
time. So
So
we'll share some pictures of that. So, um, always good to see friends like two-time guest on our show, Ptolemy,
yeah.
and she was rocking the Live Breathe football jacket, which we showed you guys before.
hmm And then the music was going well, so we got a little bit of this.
Oh yeah.
I don't think the video is gonna sounds gonna
Probably won't be very
it'll
good,
be all
but
right, but
so we yeah, we yeah, if you can't hear it, can
yeah,
you hear
I
it?
muted it because it's like really coming in a little distorted.
It was pretty much pop punk dance party going on there though. So DJ Ascendance playing all the things we're singing I'm Not Okay by My Chemical Romance, by the way.
Yeah.
So good times. And
Uh,
then yeah, so before the game, Jared did his hype
uh,
thing.
yeah, and he
And
did a nice job with it, got everybody riled up, and it was a nice march in.
yeah, it was good marching.
We were watching from the side, and we kind of were marching in on the back. They got everybody fired up. So I thought, again, small, maybe not the biggest Sons of Ben tailgate, but I thought the crowd that was there was very amped,
Yeah.
and excited. It kind of goes back to your point earlier. So,
Like I said, if the weather was better, I think it would have been different. You
oh,
saw it was
absolutely.
against Cincy. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
but still, we had a good time. And then our squad of friends here,
Yeah.
Todd of the free kick and his sister Shelby.
We went around and checking Pokemon out, but
Yeah, we were playing Pokemon.
yeah, we do.
You can friend us if you like playing it. We'll do it. We'll do a meetup, go battle a gym.
Yeah, so when Todd went out to media, we walked around the plaza again. They weren't they supposed to have food trucks, I believe?
Yeah, and we
but
did that last year, and it was great. There were so many different food trucks from different countries. You know, you had your Venezuelan, your Colombian, and so on and so forth. And I love empanadas, and there were so many different kinds of
Oh, yeah,
empanadas.
you were having
I was
fun
like,
with
this is
that.
great. But obviously, because of the weather, they weren't able to have everything they had planned on, which was a bummer. They didn't have also the rescue dogs, which we always make a point to go
Yep.
see them. So basically the plaza was pretty bare except for a few stands. They did have the bimbo snacks.
Well, I want to talk about that. So they had the little bimbo snacks with like what did they have? They have the burritos.
They had the burritos, they had the gancitos, they had
the little muffins.
yeah, they had the mums, and I forget what the names of all those were, but we got to try. There was banana muffins, there were the vanilla ones.
The vanilla ones were good. So if
They're
you ever
very
have the
good.
vanilla ones, mini vanilla ones were really good.
Yeah, so lots of free stuff. We just spun the wheel, and then we got like keychain. We got some different swag.
Literally when we were there, like I spun the wheel and I forget what I got, and the guy's like, just take what you want.
Just like gave us like a handful of stuff, and of course we're getting right out in the stadium, and we can't take everything in really. Although I probably could have stuffed it in my pockets, no one would know. Whatever.
We saw because some of our friends had some of these snacks.
Yeah.
But
it was whatever.
no, but yeah, it was whatever. And I enjoyed it. I thought some of the food was good. So if you ever haven't checked out some of the Bimbo snacks, they're actually really, really good.
Those of you who know our post-game rituals, we always go to the Wawa, usually the one by Longwood, and we go in, we get our post-game foods. I get my iced vanilla matcha latte with oat milk, and then while I'm waiting for my drink to be prepared, there is a display of Bimbo snacks right by there. And so I will peruse the Bimbo snacks and say, oh, what do we have today? And like last time it was the whole thing was one kind of snack, and I forget which kind it was, but I was like, oh, there was more variety this time. But
I think it was smooch. Sponge. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all know how Kyle's with pronunciations.
Yes.
I probably didn't say it right either, but that's okay.
So I mean, so we headed in. We didn't go to the store this time.
But there was a giveaway.
There was a giveaway.
So upon arrival, they had lunch boxes actually. Yeah. So we got those that they're sponsored by Bimbo and they have the Union logo on them. So
they were nice.
I was like, Kyle, you could take your lunch in this instead of the Dolphins lunch box that you have.
And which will never happen.
And also I got him that lunch box, the Dolphins one for Christmas. So yeah. But hey, now we have that too. So
let's take a look at some more of the evening's festivities here that we have.
That was a rare time we didn't go in the stadium store, but we'll do that on Wednesday.
They really weren't hyping up much.
I think they had, I don't know if they had them. I saw it online. They have playoff shirts, which I guess if they have them in there on Wednesday, we'll talk about it in our next pod. But if they don't have a snake on the playoff shirts, I'm gonna. I still
think those are the MLS ones that they give to all the teams.
Probably.
So here's just kind of pregame. We're hanging out. Really again, good music, good atmosphere. Real quick, when the lineup came out, I want to go back to that real quick because we were in the plaza when it came out, and we saw that, of course, no Jose and no Jacob.
So there went the Iron Man streak.
Yep, and that's unfortunate, but again,
all good things must come to an end.
And also with the amount of games and playoffs coming up, are we going to risk it for Rory in the playoffs?
Right, we gotta be smart about it.
Right, you're not going to risk them. If we were higher up in the Shield race, maybe, but even then, I'd probably be like, why are we risking it? A, they're not going to be 100%, and B, risks losing for the year.
Yeah, so, I mean, with Jack being back in from the suspension, it was the first time. Could you imagine if Jacob wasn't going to play the game in Charlotte when we were already down Jack?
Yeah, that would have been not good.
Yeah, you have to throw Macania into the fire there.
But but also to that credit, Jesus Bueno has been playing phenomenal this year.
Yes,
he deserved. So when you say, we have lack of depth issue, I mean, just seeing him being there, you kind of felt confident, like, okay, it's not the best, it's not Rujo, but Wayno's going to give you a solid performance.
He is. He's been phenomenal. He got to shine so much in Leagues Cup, and we were here for it. I mean, it was so great to see.
So, I mean, you kind of felt confident there. The low Elliott, I was kind of like, okay, that's my only concern. And then everything else was a normal lineup, really. So there's the opening, our usual pitcher.
Yep.
And they had the Bimbo Bear coming out and
doing the t-shirt toss.
And which was funny because I think it was Eric and I were up there like trying to run around because again the river end was kind of sparse, so you can move around a lot easier. But
I was joking, they never do the t-shirt toss into the river end though.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh hey, actually for once.
So if anybody got one of the Bimbo Bear t-shirts that he was tossing, we'd love to see what it looked like.
Yeah.
Please share that with us. You
yeah,
want to talk about this?
So our drum striker for the evening was Pennsylvania Governor Shapiro.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did a good job.
Yeah, he did. And regardless of what your political affiliations are, I think it is impressive what he got done with the I-95 bridge there.
Very much so.
So he's trying to do stuff, so that's cool. And we're not going to get political here, but I thought it was great to see him come do that because we know he's a Philly guy.
Yeah.
So that was cool. He's been very clear about being very pro Eagles and everything. So it's good to see the Union get some love.
All right. Yeah. So let's talk about the game a little bit. So LAFC has a big I forget what the correct pronunciation is. It's basically the winner of MLS Cup versus the winner of Liga MX meet.
So the Campeones Cup.
Yeah, the Campeon. Thank you. And they're playing Pachuca on Wednesday at 11 p.m. So you knew that Steve Trungolo was going to rotate, and when you saw the lineup that he brought out, it was pretty much a full rotation.
Well, yeah, no Boanga, no Vela on the starting.
And the funny thing is, I think it was Todd. I turned to him and I go, I know exactly what Trungolo was trying to do. He's going to just try to kind of lull the Union, try to get just like we did on Wednesday, get 0-0 or get maybe an early goal and then bring Vela, Luanga, and everybody else, Sanchez in, and try to steal late and get out of Dodge.
And that's pretty much exactly what he tried to do.
And that's exactly what he tried to do because so the first half, let's talk about it. I mean,
okay. So like a minute into the game, Julian Carranza, he goes down. He's like elbowed in the face.
Yeah, and that was a scary incident because he was down for a while, and like the way the trainers ran out, like usually they run out all the time, but like everybody was sprinting out, like he was not moving, and it was like, oh man. And when I was looking at just when I saw initial contact, I'm thinking concussion, or worse, and it turned out to be like he was checked, he was deemed able to return, but then he still was feeling a little dizzy, and said
during halftime, he was feeling
which
dizzy.
was the right call, 100%. In fact, I almost would said even if he was cleared, he shouldn't have come back in.
I was surprised he came back in. I was really surprised.
And then you're telling me maybe he has
we heard heard that he might have a broken nose or something, and I'm like, oh no.
But
not that face.
Are you surprised that wasn't checked for violent conduct?
I'm shocked. Now of course we saw it live, but then when I saw replays of it, I'm like, I'm no expert on this, but that really I think should have been checked for violent conduct and possibly been a red card.
I don't know if it was intentional. I think it was reckless.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was any malintent.
You sure?
I don't. It's a physical.
I know
it's a physical rivalry, yes, but I don't think he went in there saying I'm going to give this guy a concussion.
No, but it looked bad when it happened, though.
It was bad, and it was a reckless play. So
I mean, he got a yellow card, rightfully so. But
we said, maybe that should have been a red.
I think maybe it should have been checked for it,
That
though.
was what surprised me, was they didn't check it.
But they sure as heck checked the goal later, but we'll get to that.
But it brought up a whole, the whole first half, we were having fun river end chanting,
Yeah.
doing YSA. Um, we won't go there.
Yeah, that's a hot button topic.
That is a hot button topic, apparently.
I will neither confirm nor deny doing YSA.
No, but we were
Maybe a
definitely,
variation of it.
there were some other chants which we'll definitely not say that we were saying to Creepo.
Oh,
yeah, we're
Kripo
not.
was hearing it from the river
Oh yeah,
end.
he was hearing
Many
it.
things referencing his leg. And as people who were there in LA and witnessed his leg getting broken, because I know those of you who watched it on TV, you do not get to see all of that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody, by the way.
No,
It was awful.
we did
But
yeah,
but that being said,
there was some.
that being said, yeah, that guy was gonna hear it because
He heard it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I maintain, had he not taken out Corey Burke and broken his leg there and
Yeah.
Corey got hurt, things might have been a little different. I think Corey would have scored there.
The one thing I did like, though, was, even though, like I said, it was sparse and river, and everybody was loud the entire game. And credit to LAFC, they brought their fans. They were
They had
loud
more
too.
fans there than Red Bull had.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good atmosphere, and
Yeah.
and the guys I talked to when I was walking around at halftime, very nice people.
What, the LA people?
Yeah,
Not the ones that we went past when we were leaving, though.
Oh yeah, those guys.
They're being like, championship, whatever.
The ones I was talking to,
But
very nice.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the first half, you kind of looked at the scoreboard. Union have 3 shots.
Yeah.
LAFC had 0 shots, and that's all you need to tell about the first half. There really wasn't much going on.
Yeah.
Obviously, I feel the weather plays a big part in it.
Oh, for sure.
But Union really weren't creating chances, nor were they giving up great chances for LAFC.
It was just, I couldn't believe how much possession we had, but I think that was LA's game plan. They were trying to let us possess and
I think
tired and
that's
all that.
really going to be a lot of teams moving forward now are going to start to do that,
because we don't like to possess the ball.
No. And so, halftime, we come back out. We make some subs. Ty comes in for Julian, obviously, because of concussion concern. We then bring in Ua, and then all of a sudden, here comes Bouanga, here comes Vela, and at one point, I'm sitting there, and I turned, I think it was to Eric, and I said, they're bringing all these guys off the bench in the 60th minute. And I said, and who do we have on the bench? We have Quinn, who's earned it. We have Donovan. And I said, and he goes, Raffanella. I'm like, okay.
I wouldn't have minded seeing
So all 3 of these guys, they're not $1 million players.
It shows like the difference. Well, you think about last year with he who shall not be named coming off the bench versus Chris Donovan.
Yeah.
For us,
And that's the thing. And again, I'm not knocking our guys. These guys are developing, and they're very talented, and they're
it shows
young.
you the difference between the teams.
It shows the difference between the clubs, the mentality, which I don't have a problem with us developing. But again, it brings up to, maybe it's time with the quality of this league to start spending on, maybe so when Ty's in the game, we have somebody like Ty or Julian level coming off that bench that can be that X factor, that be that. I know we've been saying it all year, but
I'd love to. I think Ernst is fantastic and everything. I would say I would love to see him work some magic like Howie Roseman does.
I think Ernst is learning some of the things, ways, and I also think it's time for Jay Sugarman to really needs to kind of sit down and say, we can keep to this money ball, this academy first, which I agree with, and I'm all in on. But what we're going to start seeing is that this money ball, and I know Ty and I have talked about this, I know other people have talked about this. I think Jose and Micah brought it up several times. Teams that we have money are going to start to figure it out. And I know I brought it up last episode, and again, it goes back to that. So yeah, we'll see what happens long term with that. I hope we do start to figure that out a little bit.
I do hope so, and I also hope that we can get something worked out with Kai.
But we did have a pay Kai chant. That was a fun
Yeah.
little chant to do. And then also we did almost have a goal.
Yeah, we
In the second half, man, that place erupted when that happened
yeah, it
because
did.
that bounce off. I think it hit the hit
the
the
crossbar.
bounced off. Danny
Right there.
heads it right in. Beautiful goal. Of course, being
We
our
all
luck.
lost our minds. Yeah, it was great. And then the gut punch
Yep, check for VAR.
and
Confirmed, overturned offsides, and it was offsides.
Yeah, when we were watching him, we didn't think it was, but then when we saw the replay, yeah,
From the river end, it looked like he was on, but we were here and looking straight down the field, so
Yeah.
we can't see the angles. But
that's the worst though, when you've already gone through the whole celebration and everything, and then oh no, psych, it's not a goal.
so the second half, once LAFC brought their subs in, they started pressing and looked like a totally different team. And
here we are thinking, oh boy, here's gonna, Bouanga's gonna
well, I
come
think
down
I
and do
even
all
said
that.
to you at one point, hey, the lucky jersey streak, I'm a little worried about right
Yeah,
now.
you did.
And then, of course, we really kind of they kept giving us possession. We really, once again, couldn't do anything with it. We had an opportunity there towards right at the end of stoppage time. And credit LAFC's, defensively, they were, knowing what we wanted to do and shutting it down. But, Harrow goes up the side, passes it back because there's nothing there in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the end of the day, you still want to at least throw the ball in the
I
box.
would have liked to seen something. Who knows? Maybe they do something dumb and take down one of our players.
Get PK out of it.
You got to take shots on goal to make things happen. At least, you never know what can happen, which is like what happened against Charlotte. We fought back, and hey, we went for it late in the game there, and so I would have liked to have seen maybe one more shot there, but overall I think, hey, we get out of there with a draw. And actually, when we were driving to the game, you know how on Twitter they do like that scorecast thing where you screenshot your phone to say what the score, predict the score, and lo and behold, when I did it, my prediction was 0-0.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that sounds about right. And yep, that's what happened actually. And so, yeah, I guess prophetic there a little bit, but I was glad to, our Jersey streak continues. Hopefully it'll continue. Maybe we want to get a win on Wednesday.
Hopefully.
And against LAFC in crappy weather. So, I mean,
I'll
take it. It's at least, hey, it's a clean sheet for Andre. I thought Damian Lowe did a very good job on defense.
I thought Kai did an excellent job.
Kai had a great,
and this goes back to the game pay Kai. I mean, there again, monster game. I thought
Wayno was good.
I thought he was excellent, stepping in for Jose.
Ariel did a good job.
Ariel did a very good job defensively.
Yeah.
Again, this is the issue with, him offensively. He had some plays where, he just needs to get that ball out and he goes right to a defender. I mean, of LAFC or one.
Right.
So there were times, once again, with his offensive play where I even was like, come on, Nate. But defensively, yes, excellent. So at the end of the day, you take that. And the quality of the game, well, it is what it is. I mean, I think it was Matt DeGeorge posted that the combined total shots were, 6 since, I think, what was it, 2009, or there was a group of them had 8. This was the least amount of shots combined. Least amount of shots combined overall in MLS history. And the Union were sitting there with 61% possession. Yeah. And so it's like, more questions than answers at this point, and that's where I kind of said, teams now are going to sit there and go, okay, well, they only got 4 shots on 61% possession. We're just going to let them have the ball.
Right.
So you got to figure that out.
So it's going to be interesting to see how we approach Wednesday.
So let's talk about Wednesday.
Well, and even before that.
Oh, yes. Let's
talk about what we did after the game.
Thank you. So finally we decided to go to the Stadium Club after the game. shout out to Todd for recommending that because I totally forgot about as a season ticket member, you can go to the Stadium Club after the games.
Yeah, so we decided since a lot of times after the home games, we will hang out for a while. We'll go up to Union Yards or the Sons of Ben tailgate lot or whatever. We'll hang out in the stadium for a while, do different stuff. But since the weather wasn't so great, we're like, this is a perfect time to go check out the Stadium Club. And we'd only been up there really when we went on the stadium tour.
Mhm.
So we went up and we sat there with some drinks, watching just the rain blow through the stadium for a while, and there were a lot of people up there. We got a Doop juice and a Moscow Mule,
Yeah, it was
so
fun.
nice little glasses there, and yeah, we just had a nice little time chilling
They had
there.
the fireplace, and we'd seen it when we went on the stadium tour, but when, like, it's actually lit up and
Yeah,
everything's going on, they have other MLS games on TV. It's a cool little atmosphere.
it was. It was nice to check out and just relax. And we're never, unless it's a school night or something, which Wednesday, we are usually not in any hurry to leave because
Right,
we don't like sitting in traffic.
right.
So it was a nice option, and if you are a season ticket member and haven't checked it out, I definitely suggest checking out. And if you're not a season ticket member, you could still pursue going to the stadium club. But if you have season tickets, it's worth taking advantage of that.
I agree. It was very good, very good. So, anyway, let's talk about Wednesday. We got Dallas coming to town,
So
and
yep, that rescheduled game.
so, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Here's an opportunity now. You got Dallas at home. You want to get 3 points, obviously.
Yes.
Try to keep moving up. I think 3 points is big. A little interesting stat again. This is not a stat uh podcast, but I was pulling some stuff. And Dallas is tied with Nashville and LAFC for the least amount of goals on the road this season at 19. So
Hmm.
while Nashville, Dallas is fighting in the West for a playoff spot. They got Jesus Ferreira, they got some very good players. Defensively, they're very good. It's gonna be another tough game for the Union. And then we gotta go to Columbus, who right now
Oof. Yeah,
is
if we get away with
red
that
hot.
game with a point on the road, we can draw that game at least. That would be huge.
Uh-huh.
So winning it obviously would be ideal, but
So I,
it's gonna
I I
be a
would
tough
love to
one.
see 4 points this week. If we came
Yes.
out of that with 4 points, great. Heck, if we got, I would even take 2 points as long as we then got 6 points against Atlanta and Nashville the following week.
We just don't have very easy opponents coming up, so we need to
And then we're
just
gonna need some help come
yep,
decision day. We're gonna have to
yeah.
step up against New England. So
Right.
yeah, another busy week for the Union, and we will be back for our 49th episode, probably some point next week or this week or the following week. So yeah. Anything else you want to add?
No, I just hopefully we get a good crowd on Wednesday. I know it's tough when it's a weeknight and
Hmm.
kids have school the next day, people have work. I mean, as it's gonna be a late night for me for sure,
Yeah,
and then having to get up early, but I'm excited though to have another game to go to. And again, I think the weather should be okay for this one, thankfully.
correct.
So yeah, we all agree Dallas sucks. So let's bring it.
There we go.
Doesn't matter if they're football or soccer. We hate Dallas. City, of course, you said was nice.
It was fine,
Nothing against them, but their sports teams boo. So
and the people I talked to that were up there were very friendly. So
yes. But let's definitely yeah, let's get after it, guys.
let's go.
Let's
Let's
go.
bring the energy. So
Yeah.
that's all for this episode of the One Team We Agree On.
Yeah. So make sure to subscribe, leave a comment. We love hearing from you. And if you have any ideas on future episodes or guests, please send them our way.
We'd love to hear about what you would love to hear have on for episode 50. And until next time, I'm Kyle,
I'm Jillian.
and we'll see you at the game.